Please identify and describe how the 1905 Santa Fe Harvey Company leaflet for Hopi House employs aesthetic conventions we have studied. How does this cultural product depict the class status of indigenous peoples? The Hopi House was an attraction designed and built by Mary Jane Elizabeth Coulter to beckon tourists to the Grand Canyon, though it can be said that this house was designed with some good intentions on Coulter's part, as she employed Native Americans to assist in the process and drew her inspiration from the wilderness and authentic Native American housing and artifacts. It cannot be ignored that this building and what it represented perpetuated primitivism and the rise of the Western aesthetic that was combating the Industrial Revolution. This leaflet mentions throughout the weird customs and traditions of the Hopi Indians as well as other tribes. It reads, "They cling tenaciously to their crude way of living." The use of the word tenacious stood out to me because it implies that they have to work to maintain this lifestyle instead of it coming naturally to them as a lifestyle should. It goes on to explain the tribe's isolated way of living and the customs they continue to practice. Primitivism is the moral and spiritual supremacy of people that live closer to nature. Primitivism is the solution to the strenuous life. This leaflet highlights the Hopi's perceived primitive lifestyles and how all of this can be found here at the Hopi House. Not only does highlighting the customs, the way this leaflet does, label the Hopi as primitive, it also puts them in a low class status by equating their ways of living to words such as crude and simple. The Industrial Revolution brought with it factories and machines. Many of the people living in industrial cities did not have any skill. They were task-oriented and carried little to no craftsmanship. This, in combination with Roosevelt's call to live the strenuous life, among others, gave rise to the nostalgia for the frontier West. The Western aesthetic consisted of the desire to go back to the simple ways of living off the lands, hunting, and roughing it. This leaflet mentions that white men have not been able to craft machines that can mirror the Hopi Indians' blankets and other works. Any machine-made blanket turns out similar to cheap grades of carpet. This statement displays the desire to move away from machines, which was paramount to the Western fantasy. The leaflet then completes itself by saying there is a sales room at the Hopi House where tourists can purchase the most valuable and interesting assortments of Indian handiwork in the world. This reinforces the sentiment that what was seen at the Hopi House was authentically Native American, which drew tourists to the Grand Canyon.